What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Brand podcast. Today, we are going to be doing some more Etsy shop live reviews, or as we call them, audits. And we are going to go through and really give our take as far as what can be improved, or if it's a brand new shop, what can we do to get things rolling? Can we get more traffic? Can we get more sales? Can we maybe get external traffic? Can we get external sales? So we'll be looking at all of those things on this episode. We're going to try to do these more often. A lot of times people want to just listen in, even if it's not their shop. And really, I think the great thing about this is Chris and I really like to look at this as not just the Etsy side, but what else, what other potentials are they might not be seeing. And then this way here, you can kind of hear the thought process as we kind of work through these. And that will probably be something that we'll be looking at more closer now as we kind of play around with this YouTube thing that we've been talking about, that we've been experimenting with. And I definitely think there's a huge opportunity there to take those two and bring them together if at all possible. So Chris, I'm excited. Are you ready to jump in now that I have a brand new eyeball that's been repaired? For those of you that don't know, I had a scratched cornea the last episode, and I had some sunglasses on, not because I wanted to look cool, but because I couldn't stare at the screen without, well, it hurting. So, but I'm back. It's 100%. Son just got married. I was able to dance, hang out, have a great time, and here we are.
Scott, when you say brand new eyeball, that sounds like you took one from somebody or bought one somewhere.
I just repaired the one I had.
Same eyeball, just better than it was last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's much better.
I'm pumped. I love looking at what other people are doing, not only because we get to see what's working, what's not, and help guide people in the right direction, but also kind of talk through the thought process that you and I have when we are evaluating an opportunity, like you were saying, not just for what people are doing on Etsy, which is a great way to get started and bring in some early revenue, but what the potentials are for those shops outside of Etsy if they decide to add on some of the content creation stuff that we've talked about and that we will continue to talk about. And if that's an opportunity for some of these shops, we'll probably dive into a little bit of that here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who it is, but someone in the comments had asked, how was my son's wedding? So any of you that are podcast listeners or on YouTube or on Facebook, and you guys want to know how the wedding was, I'll give you a very, very brief overview. It went really, really, really well. We had it at my lake house, which we have as an Airbnb. Any of you that have been listening for any period of time, you guys know I have a rental property that we've had masterminds at, that we also do Airbnb with, and it works out really, really well. But my son wanted his wedding there, outdoor wedding. The weather we weren't sure how it was going to be. It ended up being beautiful. So everything went very well, and we couldn't be more happy. Like it was just a great day, great people. Wedding was about 65-ish, 70-ish people, dancing, having a great time, great weather outside, lake right there. Couldn't ask for a better day, or, just a better experience for my son and his new bride. So the only thing is they were supposed to go to Greece and for their honeymoon, and their flight ended up getting canceled, or one of their flights, which kind of killed everything because it was a connecting flight to a connecting flight. You know how that goes, international. And so come to find out, they weren't going to be able to get another flight to be able to connect over and get on the path to Greece. So I think it was like July 2nd or 3rd, something like that, which was crazy. And they only have a limited amount of time to do this. So they ended up just last minute booking a flight to Puerto Rico and hanging out there, which is a 3-hour flight for us direct, which was my recommendation because I love Puerto Rico. So he's there now, having a great time, probably having a pina colada or something like that. I'm hoping he is anyway. But that was the weekend. It was awesome. It was a great weekend. And the cool thing, Chris, I wrote an email about this. This was the cool thing. I really did unplug for pretty much 5 to 6 days. I had my daughter here, granddaughters here, friends, like everything. My father. It was awesome. We sitting by the pool for a couple days, hanging out. Didn't really go on my computer, not on my phone much. And this morning I went in, started checking some numbers, and YouTube was still sending us traffic, still making some money on YouTube, still getting some Etsy orders, right? Like all of that stuff that's happening while you're able to kind of hang out and go on vacation, or, maybe go to your son's wedding or your daughter's wedding, and not really worry about it and know that there's still things happening behind the scenes. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing to be able to do that. So that's why I'm such a huge fan of online business. And right now, YouTube, because YouTube is a great traffic source, and it's a great way to monetize, and it's a great way to lead people over to your Etsy shop if you have one. So anyway, that's the little recap on the wedding. It went great. My eyes all healed up, and I'm ready to just crush the summer here. The summer is upon us, Chris. So yeah, I'm ready. Are we ready to dig in?
We are. And on that note, Dream Talking with Vicky said, made it. Lots of meetings this morning. It's already 91 degrees here, which sounds awful hot to me. But then again, I'm spoiled because the weather here is basically the same every day.
Yeah.
But 91, as long as there's no humidity, not too bad. The second you layer some humidity on top of that, it gets real miserable real quick. And Scott, I don't know, have you ever been somewhere? Well, I guess you've been to Arizona. Right. Growing up on the East Coast of the US, I always thought that the dry heat thing was a bit of a joke, right? Like 100 degrees is 100 degrees, but 100 degrees with a little bit of humidity and 100 degrees with zero humidity is a very different experience. So it really depends, I guess, on where you are. But 91 is getting into that warmer territory regardless. So.
Well, yeah, we were about approaching at one point 100 degrees here. Like in my car, it said 100 degrees, but I would say it was more or less probably 95. But my buddy Jimmy, you know Jimmy the Shark, we call him. He was here, and he said, and he's from Arizona, and he said, here's how you can imagine what the humidity feels like. Just take a wet blanket and just put it over top of you in that heat, and that's what it feels like with humidity. with him knowing 114 degree heat. So
yeah, the biggest difference that I noticed was when you have humidity.
Yeah.
Even turning the AC on in the car doesn't really do anything because you're already sopping wet from the walk from your house to the car, right?
Exactly.
Living in Nevada, Arizona, something like that, like you're not sweating by the time you get in the car, and the car has a fighting chance. Vicky said she's in New Orleans, which is 90% humidity. So that just sounds utterly miserable to me, but I don't know. I don't know about you, Scott, but to me, that sounds well over 100. And I hope she's sipping a cool drink with like 6 or 8 different fans pointed at her. But with that out of the way,
yeah,
I'm ready to jump into it whenever you are.
Yeah, let's absolutely do this. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. And also, guys, if you want us to review one of your shops, or even at this point, if you are starting a YouTube channel, we're actually going to be doing a YouTube workshop. We're calling it a workshop. It's an unofficial workshop. It's really us, Chris and I, getting on. We're going to do it this Saturday. We're going to get on, and we're going to have some people join us that are wanting to join us. We are charging very, very small amount for it, but basically hanging out. We're going to strategize our plan for our own channel, a channel that I'm starting with a friend of mine who's crushing it right now. It's been about 4 weeks. But yeah, if you are at all interested in joining us, you can go to brandcreators.com/YT, and you can get access to that, or you can join us in that. But if you want us to just review even that, we may even do that in the future. So just in the comments, if you want us to review something, drop it in there. If it's your Etsy shop, let us know and give us the okay to share it publicly. And we might just share it here on one of these upcoming review sessions, or our audits, as we call them. So let's go ahead and let's share the screen. So I got to go ahead and get that in queue here, Chris. So that is full screen. We don't want to go full screen. We want to go right there. There we go. Beautiful. All right, cool. So the very first one that we're going to be looking at, and I'm not sure who, I think is it Leslie that sent this in? And this is, let's see here. So welcome to Loving is Caring. It's Gift Digital Shop. So if you guys are listening to this on the podcast in audio only, I will do my best to, describe everything that I'm seeing and what we're going to be discussing here. So the banner looks really clean. Okay. It looks cool. It does say like social media up in the left-hand corner. And so to me, I'm just wondering where the connection is there. So it's like social media, and then it says, welcome to Loving is Caring, and then Gift Digital Shop. So the messaging is a little unclear there for the first glance. So I'm not quite sure, but we're gonna keep moving here. Then we have the logo, which says "Loving is Caring" with a little heart, and then it says, I think that says gift shop. All right. So okay, that's fine. All right. Little disconnect there. So right off the bat, I would say. And then here where the profile picture is supposed to be for Leslie Hernandez, there's no picture. So right away, I would want to see a picture there. So if I'm giving this a grade, I would take off a point for that because I need a profile picture. I need a smiling face. That's generally what we advise, is a smiling face there. Who is Leslie? Who is the one behind the shop? People want to buy from real people. So that's what I would say there. Before I move on, Chris, anything else you wanted to talk here before we move through the page?
Yeah, so I'm over here taking notes, and literally the first thing I wrote down is needs a profile picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have that, it's hard for people to connect with you. If they find your listing randomly, that's okay. But if they end up coming to the store page and looking at your shop and they don't see that, you lose a connection piece there. The other thing, Scott, that I'm seeing so far is there is a spring sale announcement in the announcement section, but that's not typically how we like to use that. We like to use that more as the about us. And before anybody says it in the comments, yes, we know that there's an about us section, but to find it for anyone that will care to look is kind of a giant pain in the butt. And so what I would like to see is a little bit about what this shop truly is about. Scott, to your point earlier, you said this seems a little bit confused. And I think what happened is this started out just as like a social media templates type of a thing. And then they decided they wanted to add in some gifts, or maybe they went the other way around, right? They started off as a gift store and they didn't ever really make that full transition to this like digital templates type of a thing that they're doing now. For me, because this doesn't take all that long to correct, the thing I would be spending time on today or whenever Leslie sees this is making sure that the banner and the logo and the name and the description all match what the shop is supposed to be about now. So that's just what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's keep working through this and let's see if that is accurate. Now, the first thing I would say, there's 15 sales the shop shows that it's made. It says in the section that basically shares all the categories, there's two categories. One is all and one is on sale. That's it. So right away, I don't know what you sell. It says gift shop, right? Gifts. I don't really think like an income tracker is a gift. Maybe, but social media daily planner as a gift. Are you planning on someone buying this and then giving it to someone as a gift? I don't see this as being a gift. Like Chris said, maybe it started out as a gift thing, which I don't know how. Digital products, I don't know how they become a gift unless you are creating like a digital card that someone is going to print out and then make their own and give it to someone. In this case, if I'm looking through these products, so the featured items are income tracker, a social media daily planner, a wedding invitation. Now that one there, I could see more of a gift, right? Like they aren't going to give it as a gift, but someone is going to buy this and then print it and then give it to other people. So not really a gift, but it's going to be an invitation. And then skincare routine planner, right? So like we said, if someone just came to this shop, they would be confused because love is caring, I think, or loving is caring. What does that have to do with an income tracker? What's it have to do with social media daily planner, a wedding invitation? Now that might be skincare routine. Down here, the mermaid activity book. That could be a trademark violation from what I'm seeing here. Chris?
I literally have that as the third bullet point that I jotted down when you scroll down.
Right.
That to me is a potential issue. Obviously, we're trying to take advantage of the current interest around the new version of the old movie. But even if it's more generic, there's potentially the keywords that are being used there. That would be a copyright or a trademark issue related to small mer creatures, right? Yeah. We don't want to say any of the names of the characters. We don't want to say the name of the thing. And so if we're trying to figure out a way to get around it, then that's potentially an issue. Scott, the biggest thing that sticks out to me with what I'm seeing with the products is that makes zero sense. So there's a few things in here that go well together. The most obvious one that doesn't is the mermaid activity book, and then the healthy smoothie recipe thing for weight loss, right? Like the rest of these, it's not really a niche to say everything digital products, but the rest of these, at least if somebody buys a grocery planner from you, there's a chance that they'll buy a mood tracker template or a goal tracker template, right? The people who are buying the travel template are not going to be the people who are buying the mermaid activity book, most likely. And so that to me kind of stands out as something that's way far off the mark. The biggest problem that I see with this is the two highest priced products here are the two that don't really fit. And so that to me is also kind of a bad sign. The price point here scares me a good bit. Yeah. Because we're pricing these at $1 or $3, depending on what we're looking at here, which means we're going to be making $1.50, $2 maybe on most of these when they're not on sale. Or
you got to sell a lot of them.
Right. And if you look at something like the social media daily planner, that's 91 cents. Well, even if you sold a whole bunch of those organically, you're basically going to be left with nothing after the Etsy fees when it comes to that. And so the question that I would have for Leslie, if she's hanging out with us, is why are these priced so low? If this is something that somebody can use over and over again, why are these priced at $1? And if the answer is simply, well, I'm trying to get the click-through rate, that's actually probably counterintuitive. And if we think about search engine optimization, and I don't want to go down this whole rabbit hole, we've done several different videos on that you guys can find on the YouTube channel, but click-through rate is one factor. So getting people to click through from the organic search results. But if everything else that they're seeing in the organic search results for that weekly planner is $5, $10, $15, they're going to click on your listing and be interested in it, but they're also going to wonder why you are so much cheaper. Being the lowest priced product in the entire market usually backfires, not just because you will never be the lowest priced product forever, but also because you create more skepticism about why it's priced so low and it feels cheap versus feeling like a good value. So you actually have to do a little bit more selling when you're priced that low. So to me, I would like to see these prices substantially higher, and I'd like to pull out some of the things that don't seem to go together.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not going to spend too much more time on this, because I do like very first thing that I would say is you have to get focused on who you are going to be serving. I don't look at this as a gift digital shop. So if it's going to be a gift digital shop, you need to create a gift digital shop. I don't think you need to, but I'm saying if you're going to say loving is caring and then gift digital shop, and then this is what we're getting, there's no connection there. If you want to be a template for business people, then go with the social media stuff. Like this social media daily planner isn't for your average person. They don't care about that. What they care with someone that's on social media that's trying to do it for a business, they need a content schedule. So that's what you're serving there. The income tracker, this is for more of a person, right? Like, maybe it's someone that wants to track their expenses, right? That's someone individually. Maybe. Then we're in a skincare. And then we're in wedding invitations. What this looks to me is though you're trying to find what is selling and trying to take everything and group it all under one store, right? And I don't think that that's the best way to go about it. You'd be better off to pick something that you can build out your product line and then really serve that market. Let's say that you did say, okay, I am pretty good at, income tracking. Well, then you would start creating all of these different ones for different types of devices or different, like, what's the ones out there? Well, you have, what's the one by Amazon? It's Kindle. Well, the Kindle, but there's what's the one there? That people make planners for. Is it like Node or something like that? Or
there's the Samsung Note, Kindle, right? Yeah. There's all kinds of different tablets. You have the iPad, you have, iOS or Android phones.
Or you make it for a Google Doc versus it being for Microsoft, like whatever, right? Like you're going to come up with different forms that it can be done. And then you'll also do some that are more tailored towards, maybe the income tracker is also going to have stickers that come along with it. And I say stickers, but digital stickers. And then you would create a digital pack for that, right? if you're going to do that, then another way that I would go about that is that, okay, you're really good at like income tracking. Then I would start creating content about income tracking on YouTube. And I would create a YouTube, channel that talks about income tracking. And then that leads people over to your income tracking stuff. Again, that's hypothetical, but I'm just saying that's how I would want to think about it. If we're here on healthy smoothie recipe for weight loss, well, maybe weight loss is your thing. Well, then you would go after all of the different things you can do with weight loss. And then your store is going to represent that, but nothing to do with gift digital shop. See? So that's my biggest thing here is there doesn't seem to be a cohesiveness about this. It seems like it started with, okay, loving is caring, gift digital shop. And then it's like, let me just see what's selling as a digital product and let me just put it in my shop. So I think we have to get clarity on that. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to kind of sort through that, but that would be my recommendation. And you may need to change the name. You may need to, and I'm not saying you got to change the store itself. I mean, it's so young, it's so early. 15 sales isn't going to be like, that's all that you're known for now because you haven't sold that many, right? Anything else you want to say on this, Chris, before we move on to the next shop?
Yeah, because I know the follow-up question that we're going to get is, okay, well, how do I pick that thing based on what I have? So Scott, if you scroll down here, it looks like Leslie still has scroll up and just open up the 15 sales. Should be along the left-hand side there. If you scroll
up here, though, right?
Yep, right there under contact shop owner as well.
Yep.
And so what we're seeing is the daily planner is selling pretty well, and then the electronic wedding invites. And so what this would tell me is that we can either go after the productivity niche or the wedding niche or the wedding productivity niche, right? Wedding planners, invites, save the dates, all of those kinds of things.
Yep.
And that to me would be kind of the route that I would go down. And Scott, you and I a while back, I feel like talked about how to enter a niche that would be something as competitive as the wedding niche. And I believe we use that as an example. And that's kind of the same path that we arrived at as how we would enter the wedding niche. It would be through something like the wedding productivity side of this, the wedding organization side of this, and then you can expand out. And so what I would like to see Leslie doing is taking a deeper dive specifically at those markets and going from there.
Yeah. And I'm just thumbing through. So anybody that's listening, I'm just thumbing through one of the listings. It's only got 2 pictures. Something like this on a printable daily planner, you'd want to show it in use. Now this says printable, so it's not for a digital device technically, but why not make a digital device version of it so it could also go on an iPad? My son just got married. Like I said earlier, their wedding planner had it all up on their iPad and they're thumbing through. And then they sent them a copy that my son's wife now could, basically go through, and she had some to-do lists and things like that, right? So you can make it printable, but you can also make it digital. The other thing is on the listing itself, and this goes for anyone, you got to put more than just 2 pictures in there, right? You have to, right? I mean, it almost looks unfinished or incomplete with only having 2 images. And in something like this, if you have, a video playing of it, even if you saw, you did a video of it printing out of your printer, then you see it on the table, and then you see someone writing in it. That's all you need to do. That's also going to show up better in search when people are thumbing through. It's going to have movement, right? So those are some just things that I can see on the surface that we would want to clean up. But like Chris said, just looking at the numbers of what is sold, it's printable daily planner, right? That's the one that sold the most. And then the editable wedding invite. So like Chris said, maybe you take those 2 and you marry the 2 together. Get that, Chris? Marry them together.
I got it. I liked it.
So that's what I would say. I think, we definitely have some data here by just looking at the sales that are here. I mean, it's 15 sales. It's not like a ton, but at least it's something. And I would build off of that. And you could go even further with that. And like we said, you could start a YouTube video of like teaching like how to plan weddings, or maybe you can interview someone that's good at planning weddings and you get all these takes, and then you'll start showing up for that. And then people are going to be led back to your product. So that's what we like to see. I think it's a great niche if you pick one and you go with it. And I think this is definitely a great niche. So anything else there, Chris, before we move on?
Where could I create digital products like this? Canva would be the easiest place to start. But yeah, I would say, see if you can niche down and then take a look at how stuff is priced in the market. Looking at the daily planner competitors that this listing is competing against, the one that's selling a bunch, you are about $20 less expensive than what they are. And although having that low price point may seem like it's going to bring in more traffic, if that traffic does come in, it's likely to bounce to see what the other options are. And if what you created is anywhere close to the same thing that the other people have created, you're going to want to raise that price because it's going to give you the ability to drive sales and make more money when you're doing something like running Etsy ads or driving external traffic or trying to cash flow everything, right? If we can bump that, even if we bumped it to 10 and not to 20, which is where most of the competitive products are, that's 10x what you're making now on each of those sales.
Yeah, I would say on something like this, you want to go at least $9.95, and then you can do a 50% off special and it's $4.95 or whatever, right? And then this way here, you have that room to move, or you can even price it at $19.99 and then do 70% off or something, right? Like you can do that because there are people selling these, maybe they're a little bit more in depth. I don't know, but they're definitely selling them like $10 plus, right? So for a wedding planner that it's very useful and they're going to use it over and over and over again, it's well worth 10, 15, 20 bucks, right? So that's how I would see it. But okay, cool. All right. So that's that one. We're going to move on to the next one. And I did want to remind you guys, if you guys are getting value from this, go ahead and hit that like button, and you can actually hit it pretty aggressively if you'd like, and that would help us with the YouTube algorithm. That'd be amazing. And drop us a comment and let us know if this is valuable and if you would like us to do more of these in the future. That'd be awesome. All right. So that being said, little shameless plug that you guys can literally pay us by hitting that like button. It's that simple, right, Chris? It's just gotta click it. That's it. Just touch it. All right.
You can smash it if you want.
You can smash it. Don't hurt your computer. It doesn't give us
extra. It doesn't give us extra juju if you do that. So
yeah. We don't want we don't want you to break anything.
You want to press it, you can do that, or if you want to smash it, you can do that too.
You can do that too. All right, cool. Next one up is by Annie, and it is Inspire Nations, a decor at your image. Okay, so the very first thing that I see is a very somewhat colorful logo, or I'm sorry, banner, which says Inspire Nations, a decor at your image. And it's got, looks like some type of art on the left-hand side, just a round circle with some artistic, I don't know what I would even call that, Chris. Is there an art style that you would say that looks like? Is it abstract? Is it, I don't know.
Drippy?
Yeah, it's drippy.
Drippy art. Not psychedelic. It's like psychedelic abstract. Yeah. It's a little Dali, like modern Dali.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
the
cool.
Blocks and all that stuff.
It's cool.
That's the extent of my art knowledge, y'all. Just so you know.
Very first thing that I would say is, like, Chris and I are trying to understand what it is right now, right? Like, we're thinking out loud of like how we're processing. I need images. So I would put some type of images in here of what exactly it is that Inspire Nations represents, right? Like, you need to see either the product in action, someone using the product, where it is. If it's something that's being hung, have a picture, a mock-up of it hanging above a chair, like whatever, right? Like, show it in use. So I personally would like this banner to be brought to life a little bit more of what I can expect as if I was walking in the store for the first time. Inspire Nations, there's no subhead. So basically the subhead is kind of like saying what it is, right? Inspire Nations, where we create art that does X, Y, and Z, or that makes you feel X, Y, and Z, or whatever, right? Okay, I need to know more about it. You got to be more descriptive. Also, it will help you in Etsy SEO, that when you put that in anywhere in your description or in your they call it like a subhead or tagline, whatever. That will also get picked up, because everything that you put on your page in your shop is also indexed within, inside of, Etsy's algorithm, right? So the logo, very similar to the banner. So something like that, like, fine if that's representing the brand, right? It's fine. And then we do have a picture of Annie, which is great. It's a headshot facing, slight smile, perfect. Okay. So I like that. Then if we go into the announcement, it says, welcome into my shop. Happy to have you here. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me at any time. If you would like a custom product, tell me what you want and I will try and satisfy your request. I like that, but I need more detail. I love that actually, by the way. If we look at the last, the Etsy shop that we were looking at, and it was more like 30% off everything in the store. Like that was the announcement. This is more of what we want to see is like, welcome in. But in this one, I would want it more descriptive as far as like, why did you create the shop? Why are you creating art? Why are you qualified to create art? Like any of that stuff you want to put in there. Like what inspired you to start this, right? So you would want to put that in there as well. So just a little bit more detail as far as, who, why, and what you offer, I think would be it. So Chris, anything there before we move on?
So in my little notes that I was making over here, I said, we need to swap that banner to show the products. I like the drippy kind of earth yin yang logo thing that's going on, but the correct place for that is in the logo section that shows up next to the name. Yep. What I would want to see in that main banner image are the products that most represent who you are, what you're doing, your style, your decor inspiration. And the same thing carries over into the announcement. What I'd like to see there is if I'm coming to your shop, I have to scroll past that. So especially if I'm not seeing in the banner what it is that you are all about, I need to know that as I'm scrolling through the announcement. So who are you? What's your deal? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your inspiration, right? That gives us that little bit of a connection piece that we're then able to make with you.
Yeah. And I'm just scrolling through the shop right now, guys. So I'll just kind of explain what I'm seeing. We have a tripod lamp with art tripod lamp. So it looks like, again, trying to make it SEO friendly. I don't think we need to do that. It is a tripod lamp, but if someone is looking for a tripod lamp, they're going to find a whole bunch of tripod lamps. What type of art, right? Is it like we said, is it abstract art, like abstract art tripod lamp, right? Is that what we're looking for? That would need to be in there. And then we have a digital download, wall art decor digital download. Then we have, how would you say that, Chris? Is it
Geode?
Geode? Wall art decor set of 3. So that there is showing 3 images above a couch. Maybe that goes in the banner, at the top. I don't know. Then it looks like we have wall art for readers, print on canvas. Then we have a blanket, throw blanket, Aztec motifs, throw blanket. So it looks like art, right? But what type of art? I know in the category section, we have boho, we have Aztec, we have art by Annie, we have digital download. These still have to be more descriptive. So boho is fine, but it would be boho artwork or boho hanging art, right? Like, because people are going to search for boho hanging art or boho canvas, something along those lines.
Scott, would you separate the boho art from the boho decor into 2 separate categories here? So something like the wall art would be boho art, and then the lamp, assuming that is boho, yes, would be boho decor. And then we have 2 different categories. And again, to the point, Scott, that you made in the last shop, this is a place where keywords can be picked up. And so if we're using categories correctly, or we just want to make it easier for people who come to our shop to find the thing that it is that they are looking for, then we should be breaking it out that way. And to me, the vast majority of this stuff falls into boho. The biggest issue that I'm seeing here, Scott, is we focused entirely too much on writing a keyword stuff title and not enough on that main image. So if we look at something like that lamp, that's cool and all, right? But that photo this big on a mobile device, I'm not going to have any idea what it is. I'd much rather see that second image that we have in that dropdown. That's just the lamp, so that if somebody's looking at this in the Etsy app or on Etsy.com, that they are able to see what the design is and then go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just opened up the listing. So the title says tripod lamp with art tripod lamp for linking room impressionist art on tripod lamp. It doesn't even sound like it makes sense saying it all together. So I think, again, we have to break that up. Like we said, tripod lamp, and then we have with art, and then we have tripod lamp, right?
And then it's in again at the end.
And then again at the end. We don't need to do that. So I would definitely clean that up.
We also copied and pasted the title into the first line of the description. Yep. So this is a mistake, Scott, that you and I see people making all the time. And that's the reason that I'm kind of hammering on it right now. Mm-hmm. What we see people doing is thinking that the more they put the keyword in,
right,
the more they are likely to rank for it. Right. This is the first part of that Etsy search algorithm, which is, are you relevant for the keyword? Meaning, does it appear in your title, in your description, in your tags? If yes, then you are eligible. It doesn't need to be in there 13 times. Having it in there 13 times doesn't make you 13 times more eligible. It just wastes extra space and makes things like a title impossible to read for human beings, which is who we need to be writing titles and descriptions for. So if we say it's a boho tripod lamp in the title, we don't need to use that exact phrase anywhere else. We can talk all about the design and the fact that it's a lamp with 3 legs, right? That's different than a tripod lamp. It's the same thing. It's just a different way of saying it. But if we say tripod lamp with tripod lamp for tripod lamp, then we're losing out on making that title human readable. We're losing out on being able to be ranked for a bunch of other keywords that we should be ranking for. And we make it much more confusing when people start to look at the listing. So even if somebody makes it into the listing, then when they're actually looking at the title and description, if they don't get any more information than tripod lamp with a tripod on a tripod lamp, they're going to bounce back out of the listing.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of tripod. We need to lessen that. But yeah, those are some good points. I would also say too, the other thing that I noticed was if we're just looking at all of the stuff, there's free shipping, which is great, but there's no sale prices. And I think that we should probably run some type of sale price. I think, again, when you have a store that's fairly new, that says zero sales, we need to get sales. And I think this is something that you and I have talked a lot about, Chris, whether it's selling on Amazon, whether it's selling on Etsy, whether it's selling on eBay, doesn't really matter. If we're playing with an algorithm, okay, and what I mean is if we're trying to get noticed by the algorithm, we need to get sales. Okay. And when you're trying to get sales, you have to probably run a discount to get noticed and get sales, because there's less barrier, right? There's less friction there, because people are like, well, it's a sale, I should probably get it. It's less than it is regular price. And then you're probably going to want to run some Etsy ads, but I wouldn't run the Etsy ads unless I'm running a sale and unless I have my listing pretty much optimized. And like we just said, those are some things that I would make sure that we optimize is the title, because you don't want to change the title after you start getting sales, because then that can screw up the algorithm. So we want to make sure that we get that listing optimized. So we want to optimize the listing. We want to run a slight sale, even if it's 10%, 20%, doesn't really matter. And then run some Etsy ads to start getting some sales. So that way there, we can get more sales. That's the trick, right? It's really understanding and noticing that, and then be willing to admit it, that you have to spend some money in the beginning to get sales, so you show up on the radar on the algorithm or in the algorithm. So just again, to kind of reiterate that. So those are some things that I would say. I definitely think here, because we're not using all of the categories, I think you get up to 20. I think it's 20. It might be 24. But you're not using those right now. So I would say do the boho art, or boho hanging art, or whatever the keyword is, Aztec, same thing. And then you might do boho home decor, right? That might be the other one. And then that way there you can kind of build these out as well. So that would be my recommendation on this one. As far as like a starting point, I would definitely take some of those images and put up here, make this come to life with your products. Now, I don't mean plaster it. I'm saying like a couple, right? And then from there, continually, build out your images and your mock-ups and things. So, but yeah, I think those are some pretty good things there. Oh, and this here, I noticed this. So down here, it says visual artist. You can always, or also visit my other shop. So must have another shop for digital paintings. And then here it says painter and creator since always. I wanted to take advantage of my artistic vision and share it. By printing my designs on different objects, I hope to make my art accessible to as many people as possible. That should be in the top. That right there just needs to go here in the announcement. And there you go, right? You already did it. So, okay.
The one other thing I wanted to point out on this one, Scott, and it's a question we get quite often, is if I'm in a country that speaks more than one language, do I have to create my listings in multiple languages? Or if I live in Europe, do I have to create it in all of the European languages? Etsy will auto-translate this. And actually, all of these listings, based on the URL here, were originally created in French for use in the French-Canadian market. But we're able to read these in English. Now, if Annie also speaks English and does a manual translation of those listings, they actually get a little bit of a boost from the SEO perspective. But if you don't speak another language, you don't have to worry about it. You can just use the Etsy auto translate function, which is there by default based on whatever language the user who's using Etsy speaks. So you don't have to do that. But if you happen to speak multiple languages, like Annie might, or like our buddy RV, who's over in Spain, if you happen to speak more than one and you can take the extra 30 seconds to rewrite your title and description in that other language, it will help you a little bit if that other language is a big thing. French and English in Canada are fairly equally spoken. And so if she has the ability to speak and write in English as well, my suggestion would be to take the time to do that, because it is going to give you a little bit of a boost and is worth spending the extra 30 seconds or a minute to swap it into English.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Guys, once again, if that was valuable, if that was helpful, do us a quick favor. You can pay us by hitting that like button, okay? And letting us know that you got good value from that. That'll also help the algorithm on YouTube. So that's why we're also saying to do that. Leave a comment. Let us know if this is valuable. If you want us to do more of these, let us know that as well. And if you want us to do one for you, potentially in the future, you can leave that in the comments as well. All right. So with that being said, let's jump on over to our next one. And this is welcome to Explorer Kids. Now that was a little hard for me to read because it's all together. So we probably want to separate that, I think, personally. I understand it's Explorer Kids, but maybe we should just say Explorer Kids and make that separated. So welcome to Explorer Kids, challenge your children. So right away, I know this is for kids. I already know it's probably going to be activities for kids. Perfect, right? I like that, okay? My only thing I would say is somewhere in that banner, I would like to see maybe a kid, and maybe using the activity, or maybe with a parent looking over the shoulder, playing or something, right? Bring it to life. People want to see people, right? I just think that using real people in that banner can help bring that to life. This looks good. It's colorful. It's kid looking. It's fun looking, but I still think that we should probably put a face in there as well. So the logo says Explorer Kids. That's separated, so that's easier to read. You can see it's on top and then it's on the bottom. So it says Explorer, and then down below it says Kids. And it looks like maybe it's a book, or maybe it's a notebook or something that's got two hands with a face and running around being like, yay, Explorer Kids. You hear that? That could have been that, the voice of that character that I just did.
Terrifying. Well, so that is the same thing that stuck out to me, Scott. So I like the banner in terms of the middle section. What I'd like to see on the sides are those lifestyle and or product photos. And just from what I can see so far, it looks like these are worksheets or digital downloads that these kids could be using. So if we could get, even if it's a kid on an iPad, right, using one of these and put that on either side, that would clean that up. As far as the logo goes, I don't think the logo fits the banner style. Yeah. The banner style is a much more modern, kids-looking thing. Like you said, Scott, I'd like to see Explorer and Kids broken up. The logo, to me, I'd rather just see that be Explorer Kids in two lines than have the notebook guy on there. The reason for that is it reminds me, and Scott, you were probably too, well, no, I guess you were having kids around that time too. Do you remember Mr. Yuck?
No.
It was the green frowny face thing that was supposed to indicate poison in the mid 90s. They put Mr. Yuck stickers on everything that was potentially dangerous for kids. It reminds me of that style of mid 90s kids art. Yeah. And it feels really outdated compared to the other things. So if you love it, great. If you're kind of 50-50 on it, or you just found a happy notebook and decided to make that your logo, I would potentially just swap that for like Explorer Kids or something that fits the style with the banner. The one thing I have seen so far that I really, really like is that it appears that if we hit read more on the shop announcement, that we are using this to give us a better understanding of what the shop is all about, which is the way that we like to use.
Yeah, no, the announcement's perfect. And is it Anique? Was that is that how you would say her name?
Ineke, Inky.
Okay. So let me just, I'll read a little bit. I'm not going to read the entire thing because it's a little bit long. It's got like 3 paragraphs, but it's like, step into my Etsy shop and discover a world of fun and educational printables designed just for your little ones. The products are carefully crafted to help your toddlers, preschoolers, and juniors learn important concepts like math, language, and daily routines in a way that is both entertaining and captivating. Then it goes on to another paragraph. With this extensive selection of high quality printables, you can help your children develop crucial skills and build a strong foundation for their future education. From rainy day activities to daily routine charts, our collection has everything you need to keep your little ones entertained and learning. So I love this, right? It gives a lot of what the shop is. Now, the only thing I might say is maybe tell a little bit about why you decided to create this. Like, I just think sprinkling that in lets people know that maybe you had kids, maybe you had grandkids, whatever, and you saw that they didn't really have good resources, so you decided to do it yourself. Or maybe you just said, I enjoy creating these and I like seeing kids be happy with it, right? Like in learning and it's all that stuff. A little bit of why I think goes a long way. So that would be the only thing. I think other than that, it's fantastic. So I love that. And then if we go down to so pricing on these, $2.80, $2.92, $3.20, $2.57. So prices are a little bit all over the place. $5.66. I think it's fine. I think also we need to see a discount here at some point. I mean, there's how many sales? 6 sales so early. Like if you're under 100 sales, we got to be trying to get sales. And one way to get sales is to have a discount. Now, with such a low price, 20% off of $2.80 isn't really that attractive. So that's why anything like this, you might want to just make your price $5 and then do 20% off or something, right? Something that, and again, people would pay that. Like if this is good activities for their kids, they're going to pay $5. So that would be my only thing. I think these look cool. They're fun. The items, which is basically your categories, it says Valentine's Day cards, alphabet tracing, skip counting, shape tracing. So again, I don't know. I'm not in this niche, but Valentine's Day cards is really kind of, generic. It's got to be something along the lines of like, if a parent was looking for activities, it might be something along the lines of alphabet tracing activity, right? Something along those lines. Now, alphabet tracing is pretty, direct as far as like what someone could be searching for. So that could be skip counting, same thing. So that might be okay. But I would definitely make sure that I'm paying attention to that. Anything else on that, Chris?
First, the Google machine says that it's Ineke and that my Dutch is terrible. So we'll just go with Ineke, and if we're offending everybody that is Dutch, then we'll just roll with that as well. It's not intentional. We just lack the ability to pronounce names that are not known to us. And so the first thing that I see in the categories here, Scott, is it looks like we ran up against the character count, and instead of thinking of a different way of phrasing it, we just got rid of a space, which means we are no longer relevant for that unless we were going after Valentine's Day without a space. And so what I would probably do there is just kids Valentines, because that's what these appear to be, right? Valentine's cards for kids. But at least in America, typically what people say is this is a Valentine, not a Valentine's card. If that makes sense. That might be the official real name for it, but most Americans, at least that I know, just refer to them as Valentines. And so that would be something that I would look at. And Jesse said that I see some spelling mistakes and grammatical errors in some of the listings. I think part of that is that, based on the name, Ineke is not a native English speaker if she is Dutch. But that's not as big of a deal as most people think it is. As long as the listings are created in the right way and it's not something that completely changes the meaning. Yes, you're going to have 1 out of every 10 people who's like, oh, I won't buy this from them because they used the wrong your. But as long as they're understanding what you're meaning,
Yep.
it gets you 99% of the way there.
And here it looks correct, like, right, 11 different Valentine cards, right, for kids. So it looks like that's what you're going after. So again, that's what has to be represented in the category, or you don't put it in there, right? Because you don't want it to, like you said, you don't want Valentine's Day as one word, right? So you want to make sure that you break that.
Yeah. The other thing that sticks out to me on these are the titles. Titles should always be in a title case, meaning the first letter of every word should be capitalized. That just makes it more readable. And some of them are, some of them aren't. So
this one looks like it is. So skip counting by tens. That one is. But I get what you're saying. The separators that she's using is the pipe, which is fine. You know, we have, you know, we've read on it, and, you know, we have used either a pipe or just a dash or a comma. Like any of them, it's basically been said that any of them are okay, according to Etsy. So I wouldn't worry about that. But that, I mean, this is a cute little, you know, skip counting by tens. It looks good. My only thing is I might add a short little video of, you know, of these in use, you know, or something like that. That would bring it to life as well. But I think it's a great concept. I also wanted to point this out. I scrolled down, and in here where she introduces herself, says, I'm a mom of 4. So again, would you say Dutch, Chris?
That's the etymology of the name, but mom is a very common thing in non-American English.
Yeah.
So,
yep. So I'm a mom of 4 and a proud grandmother of 2. I have a long history of working in education, but because it was time for a change in my life with a little bit more freedom, I'm now focusing my energy on creating playful learning materials for children. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she wrote a little bit more. This is great. A little bit of that needs to be sprinkled in that announcement, but I like that. It's perfect. So yeah, I mean, to me, like, you picked your niche, you're creating useful content and downloads and printables for kids and parents, obviously. And this, again, was a great play that if you were to create a YouTube channel for kids with activities and things like that, man, it could do really, really well. Now, that might not be up your alley, but anyone that is like thinking about this right here, if you think to yourself, like, wow, if I was able to educate people, because this is an educational piece too, right? People go to YouTube, parents, to look for activities. Well, if they go there and you show how to do a DIY activity, and then you're like, I've got some other ones I've created over here, and then you direct them over there, that could be a great play. And you can monetize the YouTube side, because if you build up your YouTube channel, you're going to be able to monetize with AdSense, and you're also going to be able to do some affiliate stuff, and you're going to be able to drive people here. So just a side note for external traffic, this one here would work really, really well with that strategy. All right, Chris, anything else on this one before we move on?
I think that's it.
Okay, we were only going to do the 3. Let's do one more, because we had one more come in at the very end that I wanted to touch on. And this one here is Tea with Karen. So Tea with Karen has 6,246 sales. So Karen is not a newbie, right? Been doing it a while, but wanted us to kind of just take a look, right, and see what she's doing, and if there's anything that we can see that she could improve upon. Well, the first thing is I don't see a banner image. So that would be my first thing, right? So I would want to add a banner image. Now, is this going to make your sales jump through the roof? No, but it's like, if someone comes here, you want them to see your store. It's like having a store with your sign not up in the store, right? Like, you want that to be able to kind of say what it is, right? The logo, I think, is great, right? The logo is exactly what Tea with Karen is. It's a teacup, you know, and it's got like floral on it, like flowers with a gold like leaf handle, right? Like, so I immediately understand what Tea with Karen is, right? Like, or at least I get the style. And then I see Karen over here with her image of herself in the profile. Perfect. Great shot. Great smile. Awesome. Right? So all that stuff is good. And then if I go into the announcement, pretty long announcement, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically it is saying, welcome to Tea with Karen's Etsy shop. I have a variety of tea leaf reading products, such as my award-winning tea leaf reading cards, fortune teller, teacups, and charms for casting So I think this is perfect. Like almost like I see now that we're kind of getting into like card reading and fortune teller and all that stuff. So now we're talking like we could almost take like T and then almost like bridge it with like, I don't want to say tarot cards, but you get what I'm saying, Chris, right? Like we can kind of do like that type of stuff. So now it becomes even more exciting because what I just said earlier about a YouTube channel, this Tea with Karen. Let's have tea with Karen and let's talk about something, right? Like let's talk about this or let's read some cards or whatever. What's your thoughts on this, Chris?
You know, the first thing, and I do miss having a banner here. I think there's a great opportunity to show off what tea reading looks like potentially.
Yeah.
But the other thing that sticks out to me, Scott, and we had this conversation, and I believe it was with Dream Talking with Vicky over on YouTube a couple weeks ago, where we talked about doing dream interpretations. So one thing that Karen could do on YouTube that would probably do really well from a content perspective is have people send her picture, assuming you can read from a picture, right? I don't know much about reading tea leaves. Sending them a picture of the grounds and having her do the interpretation of what that means for that person. That would be a really cool way of creating content. But she could also get into the how to do it side of things, all of the accessories and the different castings and all of those kinds of things. She could really dive deep into that content and then potentially bring in some of the other what is the phrase, not the occult, but the other like tarot card readings, some of those kinds of things, if that's what she's into. But she could very well create just a tea leaf reading channel. And I'm sure there's a market for that on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm looking, I was looking at it in my other window. It looks like this one here sells pretty well. So it's starter 50 charm casting. So, I mean, this one here, I mean, look at that video though. That's perfect. So guys, when we're talking about like when someone's scrolling and then you get this, it immediately gets your attention. Like even that.
So Scott, how do we do that with a digital product?
Well, no, I would take that digital product and I would either show it in use. So if it's not a printable, but if it goes on an iPad, I'd put it on the iPad and I would shoot a video over top of me with my finger, kind of like going and doing it and kind of working it, or a pen, you know, if it's your, you know, your pen for your iPad or anything like that. That's how I would do it with the digital product.
Yeah, I think you could do that. You could also just do a screen recording, which basically every device has built in now.
Totally.
Of you at least scrolling through it, right? That would be the low friction 30-second way of getting a video out. And then if you have the time to shoot the over the shoulder video, that's going to be a much better video than just the screen recording. But if it's just a digital product, then you can do it on the digital device.
Yeah, the other one that's doing pretty well, let me go back over here for her, and let's see, she's done 171 sales. Well, it looks like this one here is only a month old. I'll show you here in a second, and I'll explain it for anybody that's just listening. It's the tea leaf reading. So let me get into that here. That's this one. So this one right here was only created a month ago, and it's already sold over 30. So, and then you can see here's a video, right? That's the video we were watching, right? And then we have here, and we have here. So, I mean, gosh, this here, I mean, I just did it's funny, Chris. I just did a video that's going to be coming out, I believe, either Friday of this week or Tuesday of next week. I forget, but it is, it's a really awesome Etsy shop that does, you know, tarot card stuff. And so, I mean, this kind of reminds me of that, a little bit different, but man, you could be on YouTube and you could be like doing one of these a week. People love this stuff that are into it, right? So yeah, I mean, there's so much that you could do within YouTube. So if you don't already have YouTube, I would definitely, like here, it's a free course too, it looks like. So this course available upon request only. You will not be automatically enrolled as we don't want to spam you. Let us know in the notes. Buy this beautiful tea card deck and you will be enrolled into Karen's online tea card reading course free. It's 110 Australian, limited time only. So there is a YouTube, it looks like, Chris. I'm going to go to YouTube here in a second. So do you want to say anything there before I go and pull this up?
No, let's do it. That tarot video is coming out on the 4th of July. So that would be Tuesday, I believe.
Oh, okay. I knew it was coming out at some point. All right, let me pull this up and see. And it looks like, yeah, Tea with Karen has 2,000 subscribers. So let's go ahead and pull this up, see what happens. Let's see. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right. So if you guys are listening, you guys can't see this, but basically introducing Learner Deck Tea Leaf Reading Cards by Tea with Karen. And this is 2 years old. Has 269 views, so not a ton of views. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go to the channel. This is something completely separate, guys, that I didn't realize I was going to be doing, but I wanted to. I'm going to go to her videos. And okay, looks like 4 days ago. It looks like
and look at what she's doing. She's reading tea leaves based off of a photo that someone sent her.
Yeah. Okay. So this is great. I guess my only thing would be is like, and this would be for a whole nother conversation, but not getting a ton of views. So I would want to do some research on other YouTubers that were doing this type of reading. I think the problem here is why it's not getting a lot of views is because of the titles and thumbnails. Which again,
right, there are no thumbnails.
Yeah,
this is
something that we're going to go extensively on inside of our workshop that we're going to be doing, our private workshop that we're going to be doing on YouTube stuff. If you guys are interested in that, you can head on over to brandcreators.com/YT. But yeah, and I mean, this is a great example of like, there's so much opportunity. The issue that Karen is having, in my estimation, is title, thumbnail. And once she gets that dialed in, she can blow up this channel. Now, we would want to go and do some research, find some other channels that are doing it effectively, and then kind of piggyback off of that. But obviously, Karen, if you're watching this, you're not afraid to be on camera or at least record, because you don't even have to record your face. You're just doing like over the shoulder. Huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. I just think that you're missing the mark on titles and thumbnail, which is everything in the YouTube universe right now. But this is really, really cool. 325 videos.
Do me a favor really quick, Scott. Just hit the popular button, which, by the way, I don't know about you, but I'm very happy they brought the oldest button back.
Yeah.
That makes my life on YouTube substantially easier. But looking at this, and again, this is the process we're going to dive into more on the YouTube workshop that we're doing. But looking at this, there are some things that are kind of standout winners for her. Mm-hmm. And so I would be doubling down on some of those kinds of things just to see if we can redo this, right? Like the Romy spread tea leaf reading using tea cards. Maybe we should turn that into some sort of a series and see if we can start to pick that up. And so I would be doing a little bit of digging into the market, but there's definitely some potential here. We're seeing 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 views on some of these videos without having good titles or any thumbnail whatsoever. So this is something that has a decent amount of potential, even without looking at the rest of the market. If we're doing 5,000 views on something that doesn't have a title or a thumbnail, if we start cleaning that up, it's going to get a lot better.
Yeah, no, I think we could turn this around very, very quickly. And I think the cool thing about it is like the channel's already known for this type of content. So now if you piggyback off of that, sky's the limit. So, but yeah, so without digging into it, we wouldn't know, but I'm glad that it kind of led us here, because this is a perfect example on how this can blow up your other stuff on Etsy. You could also monetize on YouTube. You could also do affiliate stuff, a whole bunch of stuff you can do. So if anyone is watching this and has any niche that they feel could also leverage external traffic using YouTube, man, I'll tell you what, right now, I think it's back the way it used to be years ago, as far as, I don't want to say easy, but it's easier. And the way that people are consuming content, the algorithm has shifted, and to me, it's really, really exciting. And this is something we're definitely going to be going over. So if you guys are interested, like I said, brandcreators.com/YT, it's going to be Chris, me. We're going to be hanging out for a couple of hours. We're going to go over our strategy that we're using right now, and that we're learning, and that we're going to be strategizing how we're going to be growing our channel over the next several months. We also have a friend of mine that we are working with the last 4 weeks. already starting to get views. I mean, he's got one video over 5,000 views right now, and it's less than 4 weeks old. So he's about ready to get into monetization, which is pretty quick. So pretty exciting stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure that you check that out. Head on over to brandcreators.com/YT. Any questions, Chris, that we want to address here before we officially wrap up this call?
I think we had one that came in right at the end, but other than that, I haven't seen any. So let's just jump into that from Travel Guide Land. Said, hey guys, I have a question for you. I have is that 23,000 or 2.3 thousand? So 2,300.
Okay.
I was advertising at $600 a day, which sounds insanely high, and making about 400. Now I lowered it to $70 in ads, and I'm making the same, but still at a loss because of fees. What should I do? Should I go all in on ads? I post clip art every day on a few listings. I want to start breaking through or becoming profitable because I'm at a big loss at the moment, but I have a lot of customers. So first of all, in the clip art space, clip art is not a niche necessarily. Right. It's a product. And so that would be the first thing that stands out to me. But in that $70 of ad spend, one, are you spending all $70? And two, what's profitable and what's not? That's the very first step that I would be taking. The other thing that I would be taking a look at is price point. Is there a room for you to raise it $1 or $2 or even 50 cents to help you start to become profitable? But to me, your only real expense here is going to be on the advertising side. And so if we can optimize that budget first by getting rid of any of the keywords that aren't leading to sales, which you can do very easily in the Etsy backend, then that would be the place that I would start. And then I would go look to see if we can raise prices, do any of those kinds of things, or create bundles that would be a higher priced option. In terms of having existing customers, that's great. But if you don't have a way of contacting them to bring them back in for sales, you haven't set up your email list or done any of those things, that's when you would want to look at that as well. But the biggest thing to me here, and Scott, let me know if you feel differently on this, would be optimizing that advertising spend. Everybody likes to spend the money on ads and then say it either crushed it, it worked really well, or it didn't work at all. You know, I'm spending 70 and I'm making 60. Okay, where are those $10 going? Or more likely 20 or $30 after fees, right? That isn't leading directly to sales. And if all of that money is leading directly to sales, what is the most costly to you? Trimming those out, being okay with spending and making a little bit less, but doing it profitably and focusing on having that profit first is the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make when they are running ads, because they're worried about getting sales and they think that that will automatically push them up in the organic rankings. And it does have some effect. But if you're outspending your budget, then you don't ever have the chance for that to catch up. And so if we can't make those sales profitably, then we may never make the organic sales profitably either.
Yeah, no, those are some great points. I think it's hard when, again, like, I don't know how much the product is, like how much margin is there. And that's really what it comes down to. But like you said, Chris, if like you're selling off one-off like clip art, is there something else that you're going to be able to sell that customer, right? Is it a customer that's buying like something that's clip art that they're going to resell in their own shop? Is that the type of clip art that we're talking about? Is it clip art that a teacher is going to buy and maybe they'll come back in the fall and buy more clip art? Sometimes that's tough, right? Because your margins are so thin. This is why anytime you have digital products and they're, under $10, it's going to be hard. And that's where you'd want to then see if you can take some of those products or those clip arts or designs and put them on other products to then bring up your and the ability to sell that same design on multiple things. So that's kind of where I would see it. But yeah, it's tough if that's all that you're doing is like you're just running ads to make the sale, but you got nothing else to sell that customer. Makes it real hard. That's why we need other revenue streams, other traffic sources. And that's why we're so big right now on like creating a YouTube channel, because then you get traffic and you get to monetize that traffic, not even on Etsy, but on that platform on YouTube. And you can do affiliate stuff and you can sell your stuff. So that's why we kind of like that little 3-prong approach. Okay, cool. Is that it? If a shop, okay, we got one more here. I just saw pop in. If a shop has same title and same tags for a similar card, product example, cat birthday card, why is it that one card is on the top page, but the other card does not even make it in the top 10 pages? Chris, what's your thoughts on that? Why?
Because Etsy thinks the one that is ranking will sell and doesn't think the one that isn't ranking will sell.
Right.
It thinks the one that's ranking higher will sell more
Yep.
or has a higher chance to sell. And
Yep.
so let's just say you have two of the exact same product. The only difference is the image. Whatever one is selling more is typically going to rank higher. Now, you may see that flip around a little bit because Etsy constantly tries to give everything in their catalog a little bit of a chance. But typically when you see something that ranks on page one and say that, you know, another similar product in your store doesn't rank, it's because they think the one that's ranking on page one has the highest likelihood to sell. All of the different things that Etsy looks at in terms of their algorithm are designed to do one thing: show the product that the customer who is searching is most likely to buy. And if we think about it that way, then it starts to make perfect sense why one product would rank at the top of page one and one would rank on page 100, even though they have the same title and tags.
Yep. All right. Awesome. I think that is it. I just combed through and I think we pretty much got them all. Hey, so here's the deal, guys. We are going to be doing more of these. It looks like you guys want us to. Some of you have already dropped them in the comments as far as your store. Do that if you want us to review yours, potentially. We're not going to say we're guaranteeing that we're going to do it, but we are going to be doing more of these. Everyone seems to like them and get a lot of value from them. And if you did give value today, can you do me a favor and hit that old like button? That would be amazing. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever else, maybe Twitter. I think we are even there now. So whatever you can do to give us a little bit of love, that would be amazing. That'll help us be able to reach more people. And that's what we want to do here, is make more of an impact. So that would be awesome. And then if you are at all interested on building your own traffic source using YouTube, we are going to be doing an unofficial workshop. What that basically means is Chris and I are not saying that we're YouTube experts. We're not saying we're YouTube gurus, but we are starting to get some pretty good results. And we are going to be sharing that on a private call. And we're calling that our YouTube Audience Builder Workshop. So if you're interested in joining us, it's going to be on July 1st. It is going to be on a Saturday. And if you're listening to this or watching this after the fact, you can still go here and probably get access to the recording. All right. So head on over to brandcreators.com/YT and you can sign up for that. And we'd love to have you part of that. All right. If you're interested. If not, no big deal. All right. So that is it. That's going to wrap up this session. This was fun. Love doing these. Keep them coming. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. Also, let us know what was your biggest takeaway from this session. That would be amazing. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, we love you too. We wish you were over here on YouTube or in the Facebook group. But if you're listening, that's awesome. Do us a favor. Head on over to iTunes and leave us a review over there. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? That would be amazing. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action, have an awesome, amazing day. We'll see you right back here on the next episode.